Okay. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me. Hey, how is the conference going so far? Tired already? Oh, okay. So thanks for joining me again. So I'm going to talk about Windows Defender ATP, our unified endpoint security platform. My name is Heike Ritter. I'm product manager of Windows Defender ATP. So when you start thinking about moving to Windows 10, or you're already on your journey, hopefully, to Windows 10, thinking about end of support for Windows 7, it's a good opportunity for you to rethink your endpoint security. Why is this? Because I think what we hear from our customers, securing an endpoint is really hard and difficult. So they apply tons of agents, and I have just came out of a meeting, and the customer told me there is not a single security solution out there that that our machines haven't seen yet. So they're buying everything that is available, test it out, and then still they have dozens of agents running on a machine, which means the performance on an endpoint might not be the greatest one after all those extra agents. Your security team needs to have the skills to operate various solutions, as well as you have multiple solutions. You might need extra appliances, on-prem solutions, or licenses, etc., to actually protect all of those latest threats. So it can be easier if you start protecting your endpoint with Windows Defender ATP, because everything inside Windows Defender ATP is built right into the operating system. So there's nothing for you to deploy. Everything is already part of the OS, and you have to just turn it on or configure the individual components. Let me talk about what is Windows Defender ATP. So Windows Defender ATP is composed of different components. We have various capabilities for attack surface reduction, next-gen protection to protect you against the latest malware threats. We have endpoint detection and response to spot those that made it on the operating system, as well as just announced, and it's in public preview, and it goes live with our next Windows 10 release, is automated investigation and response. We give you visibility into your endpoint security, also from a security posture perspective, so you can see how well you do, also compared to others, to give you a little bit of, hey, I could be better. I can see others turned on more of those controls. And we have a new tool for your security operators to really hunt for threats, which is called advanced hunting, where you have access to your raw data, and you can run simple queries to really hunt down on specific threats. So instead of talking, I would like to have a look at how Windows Defender ATP actually looks like. So I will go into a demo. And we just announced yesterday in one Microsoft blog, but also today in the morning, I launched a Windows Defender ATP specific blog about all the new capabilities that are coming. So I don't know how familiar you are with Windows Defender ATP yesterday, but we have a lot of greatness coming with the next release. So one of it is, for instance, automated investigation and response. We have new scenarios where we work with other Microsoft products together. A conditional access scenario, I will show you this. We have advanced hunting. We share detections within our Microsoft 365 Advanced Threat Protection products, which is awesome. Imagine Office 365 ATP detects something. It will immediately share all those signals with other Microsoft solutions, and we can immediately update our preventative protections against the threat. And if something lands on this endpoint on a USB, not Office 365, we block it right away. So let's have a look. So this is the Windows Defender ATP dashboard, and it shows you all the latest alerts that have been seen on your endpoints. It gives you overviews of what are my machines at risk, users at risk, and it's a demo environment, so the data is not really rich, but it also gives you an overview of how many alerts have been investigated and automated, and how much time it has saved your security team to then focus on the more complex issues. So looking at those alerts here, I want to focus on a suspicious remote WMI execution. So I would say a security analyst, it will probably click first on the higher one, like the red one, saying like, hey, this is a red alert, I should probably focus on this one. And we know that they can't handle all the alerts that are being raised on a day. More visibility is great, but it also means they have probably more threats or more alerts to go after. And my colleague always said it's a conscious decisions of what they're willing to ignore when they just focus on the 3 or 5 alerts that are red. So with automation, we can help. And a WMI execution is actually a thing you should look after, because you can remotely connect to a different machine, you can steal credentials, you can discover additional resources on your network. So it's something you should look after. This is fileless. It was a WMI call to something. So if we look at the alert, we see that the alert context is on Summer B's PC. But the process tree actually shows me that the call was made from Emma's machine. So we have 2 machines that are part of this bigger threat. And if you think about an analyst who needs to now investigate the threat, there's a lot to investigate. How did it get there? Why did it get there? What did it do? Where did it go? Is it still active? Like all these kind of questions. And with automation, we are mimicking a security analyst to do exactly those steps for you. We apply artificial intelligence, and for every single step, it thinks again, what do I need to do next? And if the threat spans multiple machines, it spiderwebs out to all those machines to then understand the full scope of a breach. And automation is not just, okay, now I'm isolating this machine and it's off the network and the threat is not on the network. The threat is still on the machine. Automation for us means we are now remediating the threat from those endpoints. So, and if we look at how this happened here, this is the summary of the investigation, and whilst it's loaded, we have automation in 2 flavors. One is fully automated. It investigates and remediates. And the other one is semi-automated. So we give you the investigation and a remediation recommendation. And then an analyst can say, yes, just do it. So customers usually start with semi, and then they gain trust, and then they flip it on to fully automated. Like 95% of our customers, they are fully automated. So we can see that this investigation and remediation took 1 hour and 2 minutes, but it was actually waiting 45 minutes for an approval to do this remediation. So this shouldn't happen. You should have these kind of things just fully automated, remediated out of your network. So we can see there was a suspicious alert. This is the name of the alert. And if we see similar alerts on your network or other alerts around the same time, we will group those into one investigation. So we don't have like 50 investigations for one thing. So we are intelligently grouping them together for one investigation. And we can see it was these 2 machines. And look at how many entities have been analyzed, 7,055. Who can do this in 20 minutes? Anyone? Me neither. So, but automation can. So it goes on the endpoint, and if we look at what are all these different entities, we see it's file, processes, drivers, IP addresses, everything that is related to the threat will be analyzed, and then the whatever needs to be done to remediate the threat. Everything is built in, so we are leveraging, of course, our own technologies to remediate the threat, which is like next-gen prevention, firewall rules will be turned on, and so on. So everything is logged. So we talk about audit log, audits that are coming, GDPR, you need to know who touched a file, what file was quarantined, so you can see all of this here, you can filter it. So this was a quick summary of like a quick demo on automation. So another demo that I would like to run is the new conditional access scenario. So imagine, so we see, let me click. There's a user, and the user clicked on this file. It says PDF, doesn't look like a PDF, user didn't know, user clicked on it, and a threat landed on the device. So the user now, if he tries to open a SharePoint site, for instance, he won't be able to do this. He gets like a, hang on, your device is not compliant anymore. and we are remediating your threat, and once the threat is remediated, you gain access. This is important. So we have conditional access already today, and we look, for instance, you can say the device needs to be managed, the latest security updates need to be applied, antivirus is up and running, or the latest update, like whatever. So you can configure specific rules to then say this needs to be met to be compliant, and only if the device is compliant, it can access your corporate resources. But we never looked into, is there actually a threat on the device? I mean, it's great if the latest security updates are there and AV is running, but maybe something was missed. So this is what we are adding now with Windows Defender ATP. And if we look at what happened in the background in Windows Defender ATP, we can see here that Jacob, that was my user's name, Jacob, his machine is listed also as a machine at risk. So if I click on it, we have this high severity alert, a malicious file was detected, and the machine risk level was set to high. So if it was fully automated remediation, I couldn't have demoed you that it did, like that Jacob couldn't access the website, so this is why we have pending approval here. But for another user that I have, which is Bridget, she had the same threat for demo purposes, and we can see that the malicious file, there's no risk level anymore, so she's able to access those resources again, and the remediation was successfully. So let's have a look what happened here. We can see that 3 threats were found, files were remediated. We can see it's actually this specific PDF file, it's a .exe, would lure the user to click on it, and these kind of amount of entities have been analyzed, and so on. So once the threat again is remediated, users can access resources again. This is a very important scenario to add to conditional access, where you actually know my device is trusted, my device is compliant, but also there is nothing right now happening active on my device. So another thing I would like to show you is Secure Score. We announced yesterday that we now have a Microsoft Secure Score, which means we are combining Office Secure Score, Windows Secure Score, and there will be more scores that are coming. And if you are an Office 365 user, an Office user, you will see your score here, plus we give you the Windows Secure Score. And what I like the most about this view is actually it shows me what are the different configuration options that I have for these individual controls. So we know that many customers turn on Windows Defender antivirus, but they just turn it on. There are like way more things you can configure to make it more, to make it better, and to turn on all these individual capabilities. And if you click on these individual bars here, this is a demo environment which doesn't have the richness of all the configurations, but we show you you can improve your security score if you turn on this and this and this and this. And we give you the list of the machines, and then you go and you turn it on. So over the time, you can see the improvement of your score. And you can, of course, if there's new security capabilities added to a specific component, you will be able to see this. Another thing is a threat analytics report. So we will give you reports about the latest threats. So the latest threat that we all just faced a little while ago was Meltdown and Spectre. And we give you a dashboard that shows you how is my microcode mitigation, how many machines need the microcode update, how many machines need the Windows update to then be protected against those threats again. There's another Power BI dashboard where you can do your own reports, and you can filter, for instance, also for CVEs, and you can see not only how many machines have this applied and how many don't have it applied, but also what are the mitigations that I can configure on my Windows 10 endpoints to be protected against the threat in case you can't apply the physical patch today. So, And then we have, I mentioned advanced hunting. So this is our new hunting tool to unleash the hunter in every security analyst. We give you some sample queries that you can simply run. Of course, you can add your own queries here. We give you the entire node of the schema, and all you need to do is create your own queries. But we also have a GitHub project where other people share their queries. And I know that the director of ENS, he just told me the team in Microsoft, they're using this actively, kind of every week send them a new query of what awesome stuff they could find with this tool, what they didn't find before. And so it will go over the last, I think, 3 months of data, which is important to know that Windows Defender ATP in general stores, if you want, all your data, of course, it's in the cloud for up to 6 months, which is really, really rich data that you can access. And if something happened maybe a while ago and you want to go back in your investigation, you need this data, and it's there. You don't need to reach out now to the endpoint again to query some event logs. It's all in your own Windows Defender ATP tenant. So let's go back on one of those machines. I want to show you a little bit the richness of the events that we have. So a machine timeline, I showed you one from Jacob. It was a little bit boring. It was just one alert. But you can see that the alert timeline, it shows you the history of a specific attack on this specific endpoint. So from the bottom to the top, it tells you a story. And I can click on one of those to get thrown back in time to when actually this happened. And then we observe all kind of security relevant events from your endpoint. And not only EDR, as I mentioned, like Windows Defender ATP is everything security in Windows, and all those events are being surfaced in the same console. If you look at all the different events that we have Smart Screen, we have hardware-based isolation events that are happening in the container, process, file, antivirus, everything that we collect from the endpoint in your tenant. And every single event comes with a full process tree where you can then dig deeper. You can see what process created the other process. You can get further details about this specific file here, what is the SHA, what is all of this. And we also integrate, if I click on the file, by the way, on the file page, we integrate directly with VirusTotal. So you would see if this file was a malicious file and what the status is from here. The AV, we can tell you how many times we have seen this file worldwide. And think about the optics that Microsoft has with all the billions of devices, email services, Azure, Hotmail, Bing. So we know a lot. And it all feeds back into our intelligent security graph, and it will show you the data here. We can also then tell you how many times we have seen this file in your organization, so you get a relation. So, it has been seen, I don't know, 1 million times in the world, and 1 time in my environment, it's fine. But if you see it like 5 times in the world and 5 times on your network, it could be something that you own, but it could also be a targeted thing. And then if this file was seen in a mailbox of your Office 365 ATP environment, it would show you in how many mailboxes, and you can click on it and you get directed to Office 365 Threat Explorer to learn what mailboxes. And because I said we share detection, if we see that this file is malicious, it will be automatically blocked in Office 365 mailboxes. Even if it's already in the box, it will then be remediated out of these boxes. So if you're not going to be on the latest Windows 10 build, and you are maybe on the one from November, we still have some remediation actions, but they're manually. So automation is only available with the next Windows update, and you have to be on the client build as well, because of course we added some capabilities on the endpoint. but for all the other machines that are not on the latest build, you can isolate a machine, you can collect additional forensic package, you can restrict application execution to only allow trusted apps to run on this device, and you can run an antivirus scan to see if another threat or something was found on the machine. So Windows Defender ATP, even though I was saying we have multiple components in Windows Defender ATP. The EDR component can run side by side with any other security solution that you have on your endpoint. Windows Defender Antivirus, our next-gen protection, can't. It's an antivirus. They don't like each other on the same box. So you can pick and choose from the suite what kind of components fit in your network and can replace some of your other endpoint security solutions that you might have deployed today. So I think I'm running out of time here. So no, okay. So if you can trial Windows Defender ATP on as many machines as you want, it's nothing to deploy. You need to have Windows 10. You have to onboard those machines, which means you create your own Windows Defender ATP tenant in Azure. It's our Azure tenant. And then it's an onboarding script. This can be local script, group policies, SCCM, Intune, whatever. And then once this once this service is running, it will start sending data to your tenant. And you can onboard as many machines as you want in the trial. There's no restriction. And then start loving it. And hopefully then change your mind in your endpoint security strategy when you move further with Windows 10. So with that, those are my contact details. If you have any further questions, email me, tweet me, whatever. And if you would like to get a security blanket here, so please fill out this evaluation and then give it back to the ladies here at the Microsoft Information Desk. And with that, thanks for staying here.